When you're working with dodge and burn, you're lightening or darkening the image, and like the previous lesson, we did that to the elephant. Sponge tool allows me to increase or decrease the purity of the colors, the saturation of the colors within an image by using a brush, just like dodge and burn, although it has its own idiosyncrasies. Let's open up this one right here. That's another one from our friends at photospin.com. A lovely model. I'm going to double click on the hand tools and make it a little bit bigger. Let's come over here first and make a copy by pressing Ctrl J. Destructive editing. We want to make sure we're working on a copy. Come over here to pick up the sponge tool and let's check out our options. Number one, the default is desaturate. That's what I want. But we're dealing with a flow and not an exposure. Dodge and burn have an exposure. It limits how much the brush is going to take off of the image, no matter how much you hold and no matter how much you brush. Flow is the control of the flow of the tool, and the longer you stay in an area, the more it does until it just doesn't have anything else to do. So I'm not going to use 50% there. I'm going to use about 15, to be honest with you. So we can use the slider. We come up here and click and type in the number 15. That might be easier. So we have a 15% flow right now. Everything else up here is fine. I want to leave vibrance on. I want to leave the vibrancy of the color. We have our copy. Let's make a brush size here with our left and right brackets, but I don't want it any wider than her wrist right here because I'm going to be going down into this area and I don't want it any bigger. So there's my brush size. I've got 15% flow. This is about brush technique. You work too fast or too slow, it's going to be different. And go ahead and start. Now the effect is going to be actually very subtle. And I don't want to take a lot out, I just want to take some out. So here we go down on the wrist, right in there, maybe around on the neck a little bit. And I'm going to stop right there. Now the best way to tell if it worked or not is to turn this one off and see the original. As you can see, it's a subtle shifting of the saturation of those colors. And I like that better than this one, at least for what I want to use it for. Let's do one more thing. Let's go ahead and put a little bit more color into her lips. I'm going to zoom in. Let's zoom out a little bit. That's actually too much. I'm going to pick up my sponge tool, but this time I'm going to go into saturate. And I'm actually going to take the flow down even less to about 10. I don't want a whole lot of change here. I just want a little. Okay, let's come down here. Let's go ahead and use our bracket keys. I love that feature to make a smaller brush. And that's about probably what I can use. I'm going to start right here. Just start going over the image. And you can see they are getting a little bit redder. But I don't want a whole lot. And it's about brushing. Slower, faster. Going to influence it. Let's go ahead and take her down to a viewable size. And then maybe come back over here again and turn that on or off. So I lowered some of the saturation in her face and hand, but in doing so, I also lowered the saturation in her lips. So I reversed the procedure and brought a little of that color back. And again, for what I'm doing, for my purposes, I like this image better. On to the next.